What were the rushing teams, the number one rushing teams last year? How'd they do in the playoffs? How did the Titans do? How'd the Eagles do? How did all those running teams do in the playoffs last year? Boom. You know what that is? Boom. Duds. Boom. Boom. Hey, man. Wow. So you win Super Bowls exclusively through the air, huh? Ask Walter Payton. Walter Payton was okay in that. That was a defensive football team, that 85 Bears. And it's a different league today. They didn't throw the ball 50 times a game. They threw it 20. They threw it 20. McMahon was barely healthy. Jim McMahon never played a full season in his entire 17-year career. Bears never had a quarterback, like ever. Sid Luckman. Sid Luckman. Back in the day. The greatness of Sid Luckman. We're going to catch up with our friend Blaine Bishop here in a second. Here now are our quarterback rankings heading into week 13. Whew. These are the guys that are leading their teams and playing the best quarterback in the NFL. Number 10. Excuse me. Lamar Jackson. Fun to watch. Hope he has a great playoff run because he's gambled on himself. Number 9. Gino. Keep it up, my friend. Keep it up. I can't believe the job that he's done. Actually, I think the job that Geno Smith has done has been remarkable. Now so much so that they're working on a 2-year contract extension for him at $35 million a year. Here's a guy that was thrown to the Wolves, and nobody said anything, and he's actually outplaying Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks are leading the West along with San Francisco. How insane is that? I mean, kudos to him. Shows you what good coaching can mean. And this weekend, the Eagles are going to be taking on a good football team coached by, in my opinion, the best coach in the National Football League, and Mike Vrabel. We bring in our friend Blaine Bishop. He is a local radio guy, 5-time Pro Bowler, and works on the broadcast team with them. Hey, Blaine, before we get going, man, I appreciate you doing this. You played with Brian Dawkins for a year, didn't you?
B-Dog. Oh, man.
You played with him for a year, right?
Yes, I did, man. What an incredible human being, let alone a fantastic player, man. He was phenomenal, man. He actually should have won Defensive Player of the Year there. I was there that year. I think he scored blocking kick, interception, pick, fumble. I think he even returned a punt. I mean, it was phenomenal. Brian Dawkins is the most talented. He could have played corner, but he was too aggressive natured. He had those kind of skill sets. So yeah, and I was with Bobby Taylor as well as Troy Vincent. And so we had a heck of a team. That's when we got beat by Tampa, and Tampa went on to win the Super Bowl.
Boy, I'll tell you, and I always tell people this. I thought that NFC Championship game, Blaine, I thought those were the two most talented teams in the league that year. Do you agree?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's probably, I've been on 3 teams I thought were Super Bowl worthy type teams, and they are one of them. I was only there 1 year, and then 2000 team with the Titans. Actually 4 teams, and then we went to the year we went to the Super Bowl with the Titans. I didn't know we were a Super Bowl team, but my rookie year in '93 was really talented group with Warren Moon leading the charge. I got to play 1 year with Warren Moon and William Fuller, Sean Jones, Ray Childers. The list goes on. Chris Dishman. So my rookie year, I got a dose of old school rock'em sock'em. We don't mess around playing ball. And
was Bruce Matthews on that team?
Yeah, Bruce Matthews on offense.
Was Munchak?
Yeah, Munchak, that was his last year playing. He never practiced. He played. He was just killing people out there. So yeah, they had that was Brad Hopkins. I was in his draft. We were rookies. David Williams was the other tackle, and I think Dawson was was
Man,
the
that's a heck of an old line. I played
yeah.
against David when he was at Florida,
Uh-huh.
and Bruce Matthews and Munchak. And this was back in the day when Glanville was there because Alonzo was drafted initially, and so were you, to the Houston Oilers.
Yes.
And so I got down there. I was there. And you guys had this big giant guy by the name of Doug Smith. And Doug was there for a little bit, and then he got in trouble with something, and they had me there for about a month. I almost became an Oiler. Let's get into the modern day guys. Is this team as good this weekend? The Eagles are going to be taking on this Titan team. Is this Titans team as good as the team a year ago?
No. And it starts with their identity of their team. Let's first start with they don't have AJ Brown. So that
so hey, do you feel the loss? You feel the loss, Blaine? Blaine, do you feel the loss of AJ Brown not being on that Titans team?
I would say absolutely. His big playability and without a lot of targets and those things, and they knew they were going to miss him, but their philosophy is to run the football, so they weren't going to give him $25 million, and they throw the ball to a guy 4 times a game. That's just what they were going to do, regardless if he was making plays or not. He was an elite level player. I told you he was when I came on here before. He was a number 1, and he's shown that since he's been there. And I know he has some fumbling issue, but he is a number 1. He is the real deal. He wants it. He wants that, that glory, that spotlight. He rises to the occasion. He's just that dude. But this team is not as good. The Titans is because of their offensive line. They're nowhere near as good, and their identity to be physical. A couple guys probably should be backups, and maybe one of them, Dennis Staley, should be maybe, I don't know, maybe not even in the league, or the top 2, maybe on the practice squad. But he's gotten better each and every game. Got a rookie at right tackle, Petit Frere, rookie 3rd round pick from Ohio State. Then you got an undersized guard at because we replacing Saffold and Brewer, and then Ben Jones has been out the last couple of weeks. So then they have a 2nd rounder, that hasn't shown up. He was a tackle drafted, Dylan Radins, and he only spot plays when somebody's hurt. And so that's why, and it's kind of amazing. Everybody talks about Derrick Henry. Well, Derrick Henry's doing it with an average or maybe even below average offensive line, and he's still 2nd in the league in rushing, and he only had 17 carries for 38 yards, but everybody's still game planning to stop him, which is opening the pass game. So that's one thing we've seen over the last 3 weeks. Now that Tannehill is back, he's still injured, but they are throwing the ball more these last 3 weeks than I've seen them throw the previous 6 weeks.
Blaine, do you agree then that's why we see the inconsistent swings with the team, is because 1 week, there's a great matchup for your guys in the O-line, and Henry goes for over 100 yards, and then the next week you're seeing a guy held under 40 yards because it's just really about the matchups right now and the depth level that you have in the offensive line. But you think it's opening up a little bit more now that Ryan's back, and I really like Malik Willis. I think that he's going to bring a dynamic, maybe future to the team, but there's nothing like an experienced quarterback, and you think that's helping out Derrick Henry over the last few weeks, at least in the fact that you could get play action back.
Yeah, he's the key call, regardless of his numbers. And then that's what I have to address with the fans, is that even though he's not getting the numbers, he's getting the carries and he's getting addressed, and that's helping open up the pass game, because now they're getting one-on-one matchups, and he's throwing for 250. Everybody saw him play against Green Bay the other night. Now, you could say what you want to say about Green Bay, but their defense is, it's not, they're top 15 in the league, overall. So, yeah, Tannehill is an efficient passer. He played well last week in the loss. I really wanted to see him get the ball at the end, but they got a penalty there to see if he could drive down against Joe Burrow and the Bengals, to see if he could come away with a touchdown, because he has a pretty good record versus the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. So he's nothing to slouch about, but he's not, Hall of Fame or, one of the top quarterbacks in that. He probably not even top 15, but he's very efficient in this offense and how they utilize him. So, yes. And then on Malik Willis, I know the national media is making him out like he is really far from being a starter in the National Football League. Let's start there. Now, He does have a lot of upside and potential, and he's a fast learner. Every game he plays, every rep he does in live action, he gets better from preseason to, but that's how far he has to go. We went in the game against the Chiefs. We only threw the ball 10 times. Wow. They didn't win an NFL game like that. And guess what? They almost won the game.
Yeah.
So that's where they don't trust him to throw the ball and go through the progression reads. And now, is he an athlete? Can he run? Does he have a bazooka? Yes, he's got an arm. But as far, I mean, he was in a shotgun, almost like he was playing high school ball at Liberty, and he was the best player, and he could run or throw from anywhere on the field. And so the NFL, as you know, he can't do that. There's some linebackers going to chase him down. They're going to chase him down. So that's where we at with him. But he's showed progress even in those 2 games that he started. So I think he's got a chance to be, at this point in time, I would still consider him only a backup in this league. The potential of his upside is up there, but I don't know if he can even get to that to be a starter even next season.
Wow. So he's a far cry away from being a starter in this league. Tell me about Mike Vrabel and how you know, you're there every day, you see it. Do you think the organization gives him every single thing that he needs to be successful? Because I got to think this here, man. I mean, you let AJ walk out the building. Okay, I don't know if that was a collective group. And by the way, I believe your general manager is one of the better general managers in the National Football League, at least from the outside in. But, you know, there just seems to be, Blaine, one lost piece in this whole dynamic. Look, right now you're currently sitting, where are you guys? You guys are right now currently sitting in the 3 hole in the AFC playoff picture. Okay, you're only Dolphins and Chiefs are ahead of you guys right now. You're 3rd. I mean, but do they give him enough? Because I think he's one of the top coaches in the NFL. Do they do enough for him?
Well, let's start with where he's at in the NFL. He is definitely an elite level coach in the National Football League, without a question. I've seen the maturation process, and he had a lot to go from day one to all the way till now. He is at the top, and I think he does his best work, and I call it Vrabelism, is that he does the best with less. I mean, you got a shambled offensive line. Your identity is running the football, and you got guys that should be backups in this league on half the line. So, and then all these injuries, and I know every team's had injury. Well, the Titans are leading the league again. And somehow, some way, he's figured out without A.J. Brown. Now, I don't think he was on board with them trading A.J. Brown. That's just a guess because of his facial reaction when that happened. He went into, dog face like, this is going to be tough. So I think John Robinson has done a good job. Not only he's missed on some of them. Isaiah Wilson being a 1st-round pick, that's hard to do. That's why the offensive line is in trouble. He was a 1st-round pick. Dylan Radins, who's a 2nd-round pick the next year, trying to fix your mess up, and that hasn't worked out either. Now, I can say with picking up routine veterans on the street, he is amazing. 4th round and after, later draft guys, great. It's the top picks, and I think because he shoots for the star, Caleb Farley, cornerback from Virginia Tech, no can do. He can't run anymore. He's torn both ACLs before he got to the Titans. They took a risk. It was a gamble. 6'2", can run with the wind, and then now it's 2 back surgeries, and now he's injured again. And I don't think he'll ever be what he used to be in college. And so that's another high pick that hurts. So they patchwork that with veterans at cornerback, and that's John Robinson. I think he controls that more than anything, and Vrabel does an excellent job. So together they are elite. They get the most out of less, and so right now they're sitting in the middle. I'm a little surprised that I just don't know if they can play with the elite teams. That's really the only question. And when I say that, it ain't it's just not the elite team. It's can Tannehill carry them over the top? Because at some point in time, as you know, that the quarterback is the key. Like we can run Derrick Henry again when we get in the playoffs. You get, everybody's going. They're going. Well, he's not going to get more than 50 yards. He's not going to get 70. He's not going to get 100.
Yeah.
And then that's where the quarterback has to come play. So really, that's all needs to be determined. When we play the elite teams, so we lost last week to the Bengals. And, now we had playing another elite team, the best team record-wise in the National Football League, and deservingly so. How do you stack up against them? Now, our style of running the football, at least based off what I saw on,
It does.
watching on TV, is that they kind of got some holes, and that may be their only hole on defense is they're kind of, got some holes there in the run defense and because of a player missing. But if they get him back or if they replace those, they'll be right there like everybody else. And then they'll be forced to pass and then get after the quarterback. And then Tannehill's got to win. And he's kind of still gimping on the ankle, by the way. It's not all the way healed. And it's never going to be healed, but he's a quarterback and he's got to play. So
Blaine, how good is the defense? Blaine, the kid Simmons in the middle is a special defensive tackle, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've got some players in there, but just give me your overall synopsis on the defense that the Titans have coming into Sunday's game.
Man, besides this last game, which I was stunned, the Bengals kind of held for it. Now, I say that because I'm looking at comparing them to last year when they beat us in the playoffs. The Titans got 9 sacks and lost. I was assuming that they were going to get, 6, 5. They got 1. They got 1 in this game. So the Bengals offensive line is finally coming together.
Yep.
They put some pieces together. And, with offensive linemen, it takes a minute to gel to work as a one unit. And they came together in the Titans game. And they were getting better each and every game. You could tell. So I was a little shocked. But the defensive line, just the front four, have been dominating every game. Pretty much, except for the first game against the Giants. They have dominated. Now, Denico Autry is out, and this was the first game that they played without him in the Bengals game. And Jeffrey Simmons is nicked up with an ankle. No one will say how bad, but he missed a game. He missed a game, and then he came back against Green Bay and kind of didn't show up until the end. Before that, he was dominating games. I mean, games from the beginning to end. So you are right on point. He has to be at the top of the top defensive tackles in the National Football League. Now, he's still a little gimpy. It's like a, big elephant or giraffe. Once you hurt that toe, that ankle, you're not quite the same. But he is a special, special talent. That was another roll the dice by John Robinson. He tore his ACL training, and they got lucky, and he dropped to 15. So that was a finding. That one worked out. So he's a special, special player, leader. But they have other guys. Dupree, when he's healthy, he plays. He's solid. We got some journeymen there who have shown they're productive everywhere they go. So we're talking about Strong, Walker, Edwards. So they've got some players. Weaver, young guy. They kind of do it as a group. But Archie being out last week made me think a little bit differently. Like, he's kind of the key call because he had 7 sacks. Underrated player, veteran player. He's been solid since he got here last season from the Colts. So they have been dominant. They were dominant in this game. They only gave up 58 yards rushing by the P. Ryan, but Burrow was the killer, and he's a special, special player. I almost want to say he's a little bit more to my preference, what I want in my quarterback.
Me too.
Than Mahomes, because Mahomes takes risk. He deals with what the defense is presenting him. He's going to find a way to beat it. He doesn't get impatient. He's cool with customers. He's Broadway Joe Namath. He's Joe Montana, all in one with a little more athleticism, and that's that dangerous deal. They're going to be in the hunt again, man. I was literally surprised that they came in here in Tennessee and beat the Titans. I was assuming that the Titans, you can call it a revenge game because you can't get it back, but usually the team the next year, the other team beats that team because you're so pissed that they beat you. But they are the real deal.
Let me get your final thoughts here on Jalen Hurts and what you've seen so far this year.
Uh-huh.
Blaine, you and I and I love your comment because to me, you and me are the old school guys where you got to win from the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
These running quarterbacks, they have a low ceiling when it comes to career. Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, how many times he's been banged up the last couple of years? The guys who are these mobile guys and these RPO guys, it's great during the regular season, but for some reason in the postseason, it just doesn't really translate to winning. How do you see Hurts? Because he's maybe the best RPO quarterback I've seen run that system. They're 10-1. You know, I mean, give me your take on what you see with him so far from an outside looking in.
Well, I gave you my opinion about him last year. I thought he's a growing quarterback. And really why I say that is I watched his career from Alabama to Oklahoma and how he improved as a passer. And I think he was going to go through that same maturation process because I think this guy's a grinder. He's going to figure it out. He's going to work on his weaknesses. And he's a leader. And he's a coach's kid. So I told you last year that I thought he was going to improve as a passer. And that looks like what he's done. Now, does he still lean on running the football? Yes, but he's learned how to slide. Now, don't forget now, he was a weightlifting champion. No quarterback can say that. So this guy is strong, well-built, mechanically throwing the ball through the legs with an extension of your arm. So I think he's continually getting better, and they're catching him on the uptick. And now the caveat is he's learning how to play in the pocket, but running when he has to. I know, he had 125 yards and 125 yards passing and throwing at halftime or whatever the number was, and that was a record in the NFL. So I'm really big on those attributes, let alone who he is as a person. And I like it because here's why I say that. He got benched in the national championship game. And I know we're talking about college, and the college is different than pro, but it tells you a little bit about who he was. He stood there and acted though he was still starting and was cheering, and it was genuine. You could tell.
It was.
And then he went back to the grinder and said, okay, once he left after he graduated, went to Oklahoma. Now he chose Oklahoma, so he wants to show that he could throw the ball. See, another challenge. You say I can't throw, not an efficient thrower. I'm going to go to a throwing school. They throw it around the yard. He looked like a different player. And then he's got to the league. I got the opportunity to start halfway through a season. He looked kind of rough around the edges, still working on learning the game in the NFL and still not quite efficient in passing the ball. Accuracy for intermediate, the throws you got to make all over the place in the NFL is different than college. And he continues to grow and improve. So it tells me a little bit about who he is as a worker. And then once you get that with the background that he has and the solid personality, I think the sky's the limit. And I think we're just getting a taste of what he can be as a quarterback.
10-1 on the season here. Blaine, you were spectacular, man. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Brother, I love you very much. And, man,
always
goes back a long ways now, man. I'm proud to be your friend. And thank you so much for doing this, brother.
Man, appreciate you having on, man. I appreciate it, man. Happy holidays, Vaughn. Get a chance to catch up.
You got it. Blaine Bishop, 5-time Pro Bowler, truly one of the great players. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.